Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Florida's Trail and Camp Report.
I'm Joanne.
And I'm Wes.
Thanks for joining us.
If this is your first time here, then welcome to our channel, where we cover hiking, backpacking, and camping in Florida. If you're interested in seeing more of this type of content, then consider subscribing to our channel and click the notification bell down below so you don't miss any of our episodes. This week, our adventure takes us to the Big Cypress National Preserve in South Florida, where we'll hike the 30 most southern miles of the Florida National Scenic Trail.
For those of you who may not have heard about it, the Florida National Scenic Trail was created by the National Trails System Act passed by Congress in 1968. It's actually the same act that created other major trails like the Appalachian Trail on the East Coast and the Pacific Crest Trail on the West Coast.
We're very lucky in Florida to have a National Scenic Trail to enjoy. In fact, there are only 11 in the whole country. And of the 11, the Florida National Scenic Trail is the 5th longest, coming in at over 1,300 miles.
The Florida National Scenic Trail stretches the length of the state from the Big Cypress Preserve in the south to the Florida-Alabama state line. We'll start out at the Oasis Visitor Center and go all the way to Interstate 75's rest area at mile marker 63.
It actually took us 3 attempts to complete this hike.
Yeah, the first weekend I came down with a cold, but Wes went to check it out.
And the second weekend I was sick, but I went with Joanne to see what kind of progress she could make through the swamp. On the third weekend, we finally made it all the way from Oasis Visitor Center to Interstate 75 in 2 days.
So this week's episode actually includes all 3 of our attempts.
We're at the Oasis Visitor Center. And at the Oasis Visitor Center, there's a boardwalk behind me with a canal on the other side that has a plethora of alligators. Hello.
Hello.
So the trail starts off to the side of the visitor center. Behind me you can see. Let's go see what the day holds. Now keep in mind that we completed our hiking of this area during Florida's dry season, which is roughly November through April.
Can you imagine what it looks like in September?
The amusing part is that the rangers were very adamant about taking drinking water, lots of drinking water. Side trails off the Florida Trail can lead you to extraordinary sights or take you on an unexpected adventure. The Blue Loop Trail, about 3 miles in, is definitely in the unexpected adventure category, so make sure you're prepared for a true backcountry experience before attempting this one. Made it to the intersection of Florida Trail and a little spur. I'm going to take the Blue Spur. It's about a 6-mile trail. Circles around and comes back in, joins the Florida Trail up around a 7-mile camp. We'll take that and see what that looks like. The blazes seem to be further apart. Trail's not so worn, making it a little harder to navigate. Looking for the next blaze. Don't see it. Looks like we're about 4 miles from the main trail, 4 miles from 7-mile camp. Yep. So we should be back on the main trail in a couple hours. We have time. Might turn north and see how far north I can go. Getting a little rain and much thicker floor to traverse. Many of the blazes are on fallen trees from Hurricane Irma. I'm recording this as my last will and testament. Back onto the Florida Trail. Hiked 0.2 miles south once I got on, and thank goodness the Florida Trail is manicured, maintained, and blazed, and made it to 7 Mile Camp. Place to put a tent there, place to put a tent there, the fire pit, picnic table, a couple more places to put a tent. Sight for sore eyes. Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Just like this sunset is in the skyline.
A lot of water. I was up to past my knees and I took my shoe off. And this is the dirt that came with me. The mud.
Good morning. It's 7:55. Woke up 6:36 to those beautiful sounds. So this morning, first thing on tap is water. I am out of water completely, but I went through water all day yesterday, so I just happen to know where there's a bunch of water. Gonna head back up the trail about a quarter of a mile, and then off the trail a bit to a swamp to filter some water. There is plenty of water to be had. This is the water I was walking through all day yesterday. So this will be my water source for today. So we found none electrolyte tablets to be quite beneficial. You can get the tablets with caffeine built in. So not only will it replace your electrolytes, make you feel better, but it'll give you a little boost. And in Florida, when you're drinking swamp water, filtered swamp water, it helps mask the flavor just a bit. I've got some strawberry effervescent none electrolyte replacement plus caffeine tablets I'm putting in. The water's cold this morning, or cool, so it'll be a treat, even though it's swamp water.
Mile marker 9 on the Florida Trail. But that's our morning coffee. He's just kind of hanging out there. Here we are at 10 Mile Camp. It's Cypress, Big Cypress, at the southernmost tip of the Florida Trail. Now this is what camping's all about. Ooh. What a beautiful sunset. The moon is out. How awesome is that? Well, good morning. The mosquitoes are out. And it's time to get up and hit the trail. This is our sunrise.
Not much of this trail. It doesn't require vigilance of where you're going, where you're walking. Most of the water you can see through to the bottom, so you can judge your footing. A lot of it you can't. And this limestone with the big craters, lots of times it's covered with a real thin layer of dirt or mud or debris, and it's very hard to see where to put your feet. For the majority of the time, this trail requires constant monitoring of the footage of where you put your footing, and the use of trekking poles so that you don't slip and fall. Well, here we are, slogging through Cypress swamp. You can see all around. We've been doing this since about 8:20 this morning. Beautiful out here, but man, making about a mile an hour.
A lot of water.
A lot of water. Very tough. Beautiful, but tough. On our third and final attempt, we were able to cover 30 miles between the trailhead at Oasis Visitor Center and Interstate 75 in 2 days. If you want to make this trek in 2 days, we recommend camping at 13 Mile Camp.
This is the closest one to the halfway point, and it's actually 13 miles from 75. So we covered a couple more miles the first day than we did the second.
Which really helped out because the second half is much harder. But if you want to take more time and camp a couple nights, you'll have a chance to stay at some very cool campsites between the 13 Mile Camp and 75, where there are several campsites that are on very small islands, and I do mean very small, just big enough for a couple of tents. And it's also the only place that you'll have to put down your pack and catch your breath after the arduous slogging through the Cypress swamp water. Here we go, Ivy Camp. A little oasis in the swamp. 4 miles from 75. We're pushing on for 75. This is a beautiful site. Off in the distance there, cell tower that is at the rest area, mile marker 63, where the Florida Trail crosses 75. Also, where we're being picked up this evening. We're almost there. It's going to be hamburgers and ho-hos all night. The first 30 miles of the Florida National Scenic Trail ended up not being as bad as I thought it would be.
Don't let the number of alligators at the trailhead deter you from exploring this truly unique and beautiful area.
Make sure you subscribe, like, and comment. And until next time,
see you on the trail.